Welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. So we are looking at parabolas and transformation. So when we're thinking about parabolas and the transformation, how it looks on here, I want to think about how it's spread. Is it a deep slope? Is it a gradual slope? And how it's affected is A. So that's why I've got x squared. So remember A is next to it, so that's 1x squared. A is next to it, and that's negative 1x squared, 2x squared, and half x squared. So but when we got 1x squared, we don't need to put that 1 there, do we? We just infer it. So let's look at x squared, and we're going to see how the different equations, when A is changed, how it affects our graph. So let's look at x squared. If x is negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 1 squared is 1 times, as negative 1 times negative 1 is just 1. And I've got 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. Awesome. So there we have it. So that means when x is 0, y is 0. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 4. Same on the other side, when x is negative 1, y is 1. When x is negative 2, y is 4. And then we join them together. And that is x squared. So we can see that when A is positive, we are working on this part of the slope. So I've got a minimum. Let's look at when we've just changed it to a negative only. Negative 2 squared is 4, negative 4, because we've got a negative there. Negative 1 squared is 1. Ooh, we've got a negative 1. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1, add a negative. 2 squared is 4, add the negative. So it's just the exact opposite. When x is negative 2, y is negative 4. When x is negative 1, y is negative 1. Then it's 0, 0. Right in that point there. When x is 1, y is negative 1. And when x is 2, y is negative 4. There we go. And then we draw our line. So we can see that just because of the negative as A, it has changed to a max. Let's have a look at our next equation. I'll change colours. So we have 2x squared. Let's see what that, when A is a positive, but it's also changed to 2 instead of 1. Let's see what happens to our parabola. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 0. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that shows me that, let's see what we're going to be doing. With negative 2, it's going to be 8 up here. Then we've got negative 1 is 2. 0. 1 is 2 again. And then we've got 2. X is 2, y is 8. So that shows me, when I join this together, that when we have as A gets bigger, so does our parabola, it gets more steeper. Let's have another, I'll make sure that works. Let's have a look at another one. There we go, I'll use that. Okay, so Let's have a look at half x squared. So if a number gets bigger, it becomes steeper. I'm guessing it's going to be get a bit more flatter and wider. So let's have a look. Negative 2 squared is 4. What's half of 4? 2. Negative 1 squared is 1. What's half of 1? A half. Then we got 0. 1 squared is 1. Half of 1 is a half. 2 squared is 4. Half of 4 is 2. Let's see how this goes on here. So we've got negative 2 is 2. Negative 1 is a half. 0, then we've got 1 as a half. And we've got 2 as y2. So we can put this on our graph now and draw it. And we can see our parabola is a lot more wider because our A is getting smaller. So that is the transformation of a parabola. The only thing I want to go over quickly is this. As soon as I add something on like 2, I'm going to have a change this. I just want to show you what that does to it. So it's always going to do is to move it up or down based on if it's plus 2 or a negative, take away something. So let's have a go. X squared is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. Then we've got 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 2 is, sorry, 1 plus 2 is 3. And 2 squared 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. So the only thing that's happened, our graph is going to be very similar to x squared. We've just increased it to start on the 2 instead. Still exactly the same. Negative 1 will be 3. And 1 will be 3. And then negative 2 will be 6. And 2 will be 6. And we draw it exactly the same as we did before. Exactly the same steepness as we had with x squared. The only difference is that we've pushed it up. We've moved it up the graph. And that's just because of C. Really hope that helps you understand the transformation of parabolas and how A affects our quadratic.